Okay, welcome to Unit 4 of the preparatory level, Time Signatures and Rhythm. This is going to be the longest unit in the book thus far. I think it's about 10 pages or so. So we're going to learn about time signatures and rhythm. Time signatures occur at the beginning of the piece. They're usually two numbers that tell us which note value gets the beat and how many beats are in a measure. The top number tells us how many beats in a measure. The bottom number tells us what kind of a note gets the beat. If it's a quarter note, it's a 4. If it's a half note, it's a 2. I like to teach time signatures by teaching students how to conduct. So for 2-4, we're going to go down and out, up, down and out, up. 1, 2, 1, 2. Pretty easy. I like to count rhythm not using numbers. This book does use numbers, so go ahead and use numbers when you fill in your answers. But I like to use words. As a pianist, I have a right hand finger number and a left hand finger number, a right hand rhythm counting number, and a left hand rhythm counting number. And I find if I take numbers out of the equation for rhythm, it helps my students. But for this work, you're going to obviously have to write in the numbers like they ask. In the files section, there is a document called Rhythm Words, and that has all the rhythm words that I use with my students and in my own practicing. Instead of counting 1, 2, 1, 2, I replace it with pies. Pie, 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 pie. And I find that that works well for me. But do what works well for you. They want us to write our counts in. We're in 2-4, so you can fill that in with 1s and 2s. All right, that's page 14 in 2-4. Going on. Page 15 is in 3-4. So down, hit your neighbor, up. Down, hit your neighbor, up. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. You'll recognize that this time signature is often found in music that are dances, especially waltzes. So we're going to fill in our blanks with 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Pretty self-explanatory. This concept's new right here, or a review maybe. A dot adds half the note's value. A half note gets 2 beats. Half of 2 is 1. 1 plus 2 is 3. So adding a dot adds half of the note's value, making it 3 beats in this situation. All right, moving on. Page 16. We are now in 4-4. We have quarter notes. We have half notes. We have dotted half notes, and we have whole notes. I refer to these as pi, 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 pi. But for this book, the purposes of it, we're going to write in 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 for all of those blanks. Let's conduct 4-4. 4-4 is down, hit yourself, hit your neighbor, up. Down, hit yourself, hit your neighbor, up. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Congratulations, you are now all better conductors than those at your churches. You've got a new job just waiting for you. Okay, moving on. Eighth notes. I refer to my eighth notes as apples. They use 1 and, or 2 and, or whatever beat and. So I would clap this line number 13 as apple, apple, pie, pie. Apple, apple, pie, pie. So that's how I'll clap and count. But for writing purposes, write the 1 and the and. I would use a plus sign, 1 and 2 and, whenever you need to do that. So go ahead and fill in that counting on page 17. Moving on. More of the same for 18 and 19. Although here on 19, we're also going to add bar lines, just to show that you know where the measure ends. That we have 4 beats. 1, 2, and 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3, 4. Okay. Measure 20, referring back to the dot again, the concept of the dot. The dotted quarter note is often followed by 1/8 note. I call it a pipe and a pull. Pineapple, pineapple. I throw my hands out on the app so I'm not late on the pull. Pineapple, pineapple. So dotted quarter note. A quarter note without the dot equals 1 beat. Half of 1 beat is half of a beat. Half of a beat plus 1 beat is 1.5 beats. So a dotted quarter note gets 1.5 beats, and it's usually 99.999% of the time followed by a single 1/8 note, which gets the other half of that beat. This is a great way of drawing how a dotted half note works. It's just a quarter note and 2 1/8 notes with a tie, tying those together so you don't replay or count that. 1 and 2 and. So you don't replay that. 1 and 2 and. 1 and 2 and. Pineapple. Okay, so go ahead and write in the rhythms here. This is a little bit trickier, a little more complex, but I think you won't have any problems there. Moving on. We get what the book calls upbeats. I had a professor that would not let us call it upbeats. We had to call it an anachrosis. That's the proper terminology, anachrosis. But you're going to hear it referred to a lot as an upbeat. All it is an incomplete measure before our first complete measure. It can be any number of beats as long as it's less than the length of a normal measure. So in this case, it's a 1-beat anachrosis that starts on beat 4. 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Pi, 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 pi. So watch out for those. And the other thing about the anachrosis is that typically it should add up together with the last measure to make up the value of your time signature. So here we have beat 4, and here we have beat 1, 2, and 3. Together, 1, 2, 3, 4 makes up the number in our time signature. Here we're in 3, 4. Our last note gets 1, 2. Our first anachrosis measure gets 3 and. 1 and 2 and 3 and, making a complete measure. So that is the concept of an anachrosis. Nothing really for you to do on this page to turn in, but I would go ahead and play and clap them. Going on, page 22, we're reviewing our rest signs. And they want you to draw them 4 times on the staff. It is crucial that you write them in the right spaces on the right lines. So do it exactly like they did it. A half rest goes in the 3rd space up. The whole rest goes in the 2nd space down on the fourth line. This one goes on the third line. The dot of the eighth rest should go in the third space. So here we're going to have to do a little musical math to figure out what we want to do, where to put the rest in the right spot. So we have 1 and 2. So we need 2 more beats of rest. So we need a half rest right there. Same thing here, 1 and 2. We need a half rest right there. So basically you're going to have to do the math, do some counting, writing in the counts if you need to. Yeah, we're supposed to draw in the beats of the measure. So 1 and 2 and 3, 4. So go ahead and do that. Moving on. Something fun. We have a crossword puzzle. So, as you can see, the half rest is 1 down. So the symbol goes with the answer that you fill in the boxes. Number 4 is a quarter note, and that's going to be 4 down, quarter note. So have fun with that. The crossword puzzles don't last very long in the books. There's one in the first couple books, and then they don't do them anymore. So that's it for your Unit 4. A lot of work this unit, so I'll give you plenty of time to get that done, and go ahead and submit that for me to grade. Thank you.